Mommy Aldridge. I'm a blogger with RAGTRADE and today we're doing our very first live interview. Today we have emerging jewelry designer Kam Throckmorton here with us today. Welcome, Kam.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, thank you for coming.
Of course.
So just to let everyone know, we're going to ask Kam a few questions about her jewelry brand, BEAUXLD. And we are basically just going to cover like how it started and where she sees it going in the future. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Kam. So if you could just tell us a little bit about BEAUXLD.
Of course. BEAUXLD was born out of the fact that I've always loved costume jewelry. I really think the levels the playing field in terms of sizing. I'm 6'2" and I've been this tall since about the 7th grade. And back in the day, really the only thing I've had to work with in terms of fashion was men's clothing, a sad selection of women's basics. But I had my grandmother's vintage costume jewelry. And I learned from a young age that really could give you a fun, special look, even if the clothes that you were working with were, sad dad jeans. And so that, I've always loved costume jewelry. And as a stylist, I would work with jewelry brands and other fashion brands. And something that's really important to me is body positivity. And I would push for diversity in the models with, both age and size diversity. And I really got tired of the pushback from these owners who, they wanted to use size 0 19-year-olds, which is fine, but they were companies that had built their brands off the support of all women. And I thought it was really unfair that we were just discounting a whole population of women. So instead of staying frustrated, I took action and I partnered with a brilliant friend of mine, and we started BEAUXLD. And we have BEAUXLD jewelry worn by BEAUXLD women, and it's born from BEAUXLD stories. So all of our models are women that we know and that we love and respect. And they're all women who have a BEAUXLD story and are willing to be authentic and vulnerable and share that BEAUXLD story. And so on our website, we have our BEAUXLD models and their stories, and a percentage of the sales from our modeling goes to the charity of their choice.
Awesome. And I noticed that when I went to your website for BEAUXLD, and I noticed that all the models for the jewelry, they were all different ethnicities, different body sizes, and I thought that was really awesome.
Well, I'm glad that you noticed that, because that's really important to me. I want all women, especially young girls, I want them to all be able to relate to something about each of our models. So I'm glad that you noticed.
Cool. So what type of influence do you feel that BEAUXLD has had on Atlanta's fashion community?
Well, we're a pretty new company. We're about 6 months old, but we've had a lot that's happened in 6 months, which has been great. Something that's been really fun to see is, when we've done some trunk shows just to kind of get market research and some feedback, and to see these women who really can't find the BEAUXLD pieces. It's really a hole in the marketplace. You've got, dainty jewelry is, it's such a huge trend, and it's beautiful, and it's, but it's out there. Yeah. And there's really not that brand that really bridges the gap between, not necessarily fast fashion, but not necessarily high end, trying to get the reaction of women.
Cool. So what do you see next happening for BEAUXLD, or what do you have planned next for BEAUXLD?
Well, we have a lot. I mean, there's so much that we're doing. We've got some partnerships forming with some big brands. We don't want to necessarily have a wholesale model, but there are certain brands that we want to partner with that align with our branding and our mission, and so that's exciting. So we're working on a wholesale model for that particular area to grow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to transition into you being a personal stylist, because you mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
So with being a personal stylist, how do you help women escape the idea of not having the ideal body, or bodies that they see on social media? How do you help women get over that?
Well, I'm very fortunate. My degree is actually in social work, which I say I use that more than I think I would use a degree in fashion, because it's never just about the clothes. Usually when a woman hires me, it's a big transitional time in her life, and usually it's not rare for a woman to cry the first time that we work together. And women, we have so many snakes in our heads, and I do think it's really driven from that we compare ourselves to the highlight reel of other women, and those other women could be supermodels or they could be your next door neighbor. So I really have to get in there and, you know, teach these women that they're so much more than their body size, they're so much more than their shape, and just these silly notions that, you know, I have these badass women who are depressed because they don't look like what they did when they were 20. And that's just silly. I mean, you know, a lot of them have had babies, they've made people, they've grown people in their stomach, but they're upset that their stomach doesn't look like it did when they were 19. And so it's really want you just kind of call people out on that and make them really look at the ridiculousness of it. It's funny, I can see somebody shift usually within the first appointment that I work with somebody. I can see their, you know, mentality kind of changing. And then also just to show them, hey, look, if you're wearing a necklace that hits you in the smallest part of your body, that is a lot easier than getting on a treadmill for 4 hours a day. You know, and if you're wearing the right shape clothing, and that's really what I focus on, is your body shape, not your body size. And teaching my clients that there's certain silhouettes that are going to complement your shape, and it's always actually not about hiding or covering up the stuff that you don't like. It's about accentuating the good stuff and distracting from the bad stuff. So if you know, don't like your hips, the worst thing you can do is wear a big sweater that covers up your hips, because it's going to make your whole body look as big as your hips. You know, so it's about accentuating that small waist that you probably have if you have larger hips. You know, and balancing out those hips with a great necklace or fun earrings, something like that. So
that's
education.
Because I never thought about it that way. Just to focus more on the parts that you love, because as women we're always focused on what we don't like. Oh, I hate my thighs, I hate my arms, something like that. So that's really awesome that you think about it in the terms of like educating them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's important.
So what advice would you give women and men who feel that they have a hard time being fashionable because of their size or their body shape?
Well, it's true regardless of size, and I work with women who are, you know, a size 4 and 5'6", and you think that's got to be the easiest shape in the world. You know, but the more you hate your body, the harder it is to have great style. So I tell that to all of my clients, male, female, regardless of your size. You have to embrace it. You know, I'm 6'2", I have on 4-inch heels today, and I'm fine with that, and I love that. So it's really about finding the good stuff, making the most of it, but also you really need to be self-aware. You know, for the longest time I thought because I'm a size 16 I must be curvy. Well, I'm not curvy. I took out a measuring tape and I measured all of my measurements, and I'm actually very rectangle. So, you know, all of those rules and all of